Spirit Beasts are probably the most unique hunter pet family WoW has to offer. They have cool abilities, they can dispel and heal, and most importantly, they have very unique designs. Also, most of them are either pretty rare or very well hidden, making them a challenge to tame. Today I will show you all the Spirit Beasts that are in the game so far, as well as where to find them and how to tame them. The first Spirit Beasts were added in Wrath of the Lich King, and they all were rare mobs with a long respawn timer, but nowadays they shouldn't be too difficult to find. Especially since you can also turn on War mode and basically have a second chance of finding them. This Spirit Leopard can be found in the zone of Shalazar Basin and has multiple spawn locations. Simply check them all out, spam a macro with the command /target Loque'Nahak, or have a Rarefinder add-on installed and you really should have no problem finding it. Next we have Arcturis, a spirit bear which can be found in Grizzly Hills. You will always find him at the same location, which is right next to the Amberpine Lodge, walking up and down this hill. Very unique design and one of my personal favorites. In the zone of Sul'raka you can find Gondria, a purple spirit tiger which can spawn at multiple locations. There are also two other color variations of this one, but we will talk about that later. In the Storm Peaks you can find Skoll. If you are a fan of Norse mythology, you may have heard of Skoll and Hati. And yeah, Hati is also a pet on this list. Skoll can spawn in 3 different locations, and is probably the rarest of the Northern Spirit Beasts, since many hunters are still coming for him only to have a Skoll and Hati Beastmaster combo. Skoll's design looks absolutely incredible and actually has 2 recolored versions as regular wolf pets that are no Spirit Beasts. There's also a very rare creature only about 10% of you have found, and that is the subscribe button.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
Next we will take a look at the Spirit Beasts from Cataclysm. First we have Gon and the lost Spectral Gryphon. Gon is a raptor with a very interesting color scheme and can be summoned by interacting with an egg at this spot in Orgrimmar. So if you are a Horde player, this is no problem, but for an Alliance player, this might be tricky. The lost Spectral Gryphon is basically the Alliance version of this. You can interact with a feather right next to the Gryphon Master in Stormwind to spawn it in and then simply tame it. However, the egg and the feather have some respawn time, so they are not necessarily around when you come here. Then we have Lightning Paw, a lightning-imbued spirit fox which can be found in multiple spots in Duskwood. However, this beast is stealthed and hides inside of bushes, so you may have to take a closer look if you want to get your hands on this one. In the zone of the Twilight Highlands you can find Karoma, a spectral wolf, and once again multiple spawn locations, rare mob, nothing too crazy. Also, this is the same design the spirit wolf form of shamans used to have, so that's interesting to know. Deep under the sea, in the zone of Vashir, in the southwest of the abyssal depths, you can find Ghostcrawler, a spirit crab. If you have never quested in the zone, you will need some elixir of water breathing, because you have to swim very deep. And also in case you don't have any aquatic mounts, the Reins of Poseidon are usually purchasable for a very low price, and they would make this trip much easier. Ghostcrawler is difficult to find and sometimes turns invisible, so make sure to take your time while looking for him. Next we have the 3 pets of the zone of Hyjal, but in order to get these you first have to do a bunch of quests in the zone and unlock the daily quests at this area. Basically just play through the main storyline until the forest here stops burning. First we have Magria and Ankha, the blue and white color variation of a spirit tiger. Only one of them can be found at the same time, running around at this area, and they have a shared respawn timer of roughly 4 hours. In case the beast is up that you are not looking for, just tame or kill him and wait for the respawn. You also can swap your war mode status and hopefully in the other phase you can find the other beast. Besides that there's nothing else to worry about and you can simply tame them. You also have a spirit owl, Bantalos, pretty much in the same location. Bantalos is flying very high above the sanctuary of Malorn. If you want to tame this beast, get on a flying mount with static flying and try to land on top of this exact tree. After landing, make sure you would land again on it, after flying straight up and down, just to make sure you're on the right spot. Now fly only up and wait for Bantalos to be in your range. When you can, use the tame ability to engage in combat with the owl, and after landing on top of a tree, wait until Bantalos gets in range and start taming again. A very unique pet, definitely an eye catcher and the final spirit beast of Cataclysm. Next we head over to Pandaria. In Pandaria we have 3 spirit porcupines, a green one, a blue one and a red one. These cannot be tamed until they are brought down below 30% HP. However, if you are a max level hunter, you just one-shot them. Even taking off all your gear doesn't change that. And foam swords don't work on them either. So instead you need to find a second player on a lower level to activate the party sync mechanic, bringing you down on the same level as the beasts. However, they deal a lot of damage and they are no pushover. Starting with the green one, Hutia? Hutia can be found at the Jade Forest at this location. Do not get too close to her and have your interrupt ready, because she occasionally tries to heal herself. Also keep your concussive shot active all the time so you can kite her around. After reaching 30% HP, you can tame her. You might want to use the aspect of a turtle before starting the tame, so you can easily survive her attacks. The blue one, Gumi, can be found in Kunlai's summit at this location. Gumi has nothing you need to interrupt, but is moving a bit faster than Hutia. Instead of walking backwards while kiting, you need to walk sideways and also look out where you are going, because the mountains around you can become a problem. But you can also make use of that and gain some distance by jumping down. You can keep him in place for a short while with Binding Shot in case you are struggling keeping distance. Again, after reaching 30% HP, you can go for the tame. The red one, Degu, can be found below this cliff between the Valley of Four Winds and the Karazhan Wilds. While fighting Degu, you have to always be at the perfect distance. If you are too close, you get hit by the melee attacks, and if you are too far away, he will cast Barbed Needle, which deals an immense amount of damage. So basically just keep concussive shot active, stay at the right distance and make sure you don't pull anything else, then you should be good. And again, after reaching 30% HP, you can go for a tame. Then we also have Elegon, a Titan construct form of a Cloud Serpent. In order to tame Elegon, you first need to be able to tame Cloud Serpents. As a Pandaren you can simply do that by default, otherwise you need an exalted reputation with the Order of the Cloud Serpent and then buy an item from the Quartermaster. Once you did that, you can find Elegon in the Mogushan Vaults raid as a penultimate boss. Also, after taming Elegon, the boss will instantly respawn, so if you want this pet twice, you can simply tame it again. Warlords of Draenor had only one spirit beast, and that is Gara. Gara is a very special pet to obtain, and I already have a video covering her, so instead of going through all of this again, I will just link the video here in case you are interested. Definitely worth checking it out, and the pet with the most personality on this list. Legion had a total of 4 spirit beasts, but 3 of them are kinda cheap, the Mana Sabers. They come in 3 different colors, and the blue ones can be found at this area. They are simply there in big groups, nothing crazy to do. The purple one can also be found around here, and the dark version is at least somewhat rare since there are only 2 rare mobs with this color variation, and you can find Myonyx at this spot and Pasha in this area. Then there's also Bulvinkel, a spirit moose which looks just like the spirit of Echeromaut. Bulvinkel can be found in Stormheim, walking around at this location. Beastmasters during Legion also had a special pet with them, which I mentioned earlier. Hati. Hati was part of the Beastmaster artifact weapon and got reintroduced during BFA. It's the only spirit beast of BFA, comes in 6 different color schemes, you can play fetch with him, you can even use him as a mount. Getting your hands on Hati is a bit more complicated, and once again I already have a video about it, so check that out if you like. The Shadowlands are the realm of death and spirits, and there is not a single spirit beast. What a disappointment. I mean, technically Cloud Serpents became tameable in the pre-patch, so I guess Elegon could count for Shadowlands, but come on. You had so much potential for spirit beasts in Shadowlands. Embarrassing. On the Dragon Isles we first have Blood Gullet. This Spectral Amoradon can be found while under the influence of the Essence of Awakening. You can find it at this hut and the buff lasts for 1 hour. While having the buff, you want to head over to this area and here you can find him walking around. Simply use commands like /target Blood Gullet and you should find him quite easily. Then in the Emerald Dream there are 2 different spirit beasts, Sul'raka and Naki. Sul'raka is this great tiger and she walks around at this area, however she is invisible. You need to watch out for footprints on the ground and follow them. Then make her visible with a flare ability and put a hunter's mark onto her. After that you can simply tame her. Awesome design, even though she doesn't really look much like a spirit beast in my opinion. Naki is this blazing owl and only tameable after obtaining the reins of Anurelos from Mythic Firak in the Amirdosil raid. So yeah, that's a bummer. After getting the mount, you will also get the Cinder of Companionship, which allows you to tame Naki. Naki is flying around the big tree Amedrusil very high up. When she's flying around this spot east of a tree, she will do a short turn, and this is when you have to attack her and try to land on this branch of a tree. Before landing, use the disengage ability to avoid fall damage, and then you can tame her. Definitely a rare pet, since only a small amount of players are able to tame her yet, but with a great design. At the point of recording, these are all the spirit beasts in the game. However, on the War Within beta, we also found the Stormrook Aradan. But so far it seems like Aradan is locked behind a secret, since he only shows up as a friendly target, but is considered tameable by the Beast Law ability. I am currently working with a secret finding Discord to solve this mystery, and I will link you another video whenever we figure it out. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, see ya!